All right, welcome back, everyone. It's lovely to see you all. As always, it's lovely to be back after yesterday's technical issues with Zoom. And so let's get straight back into it. So take a deep breath and either close your eyes or leave them open, whichever you prefer. And go into your superpower state, however you normally do that. Either by repeating your word or phrase, or by using your anchor, or by focusing in on everything you love and appreciate about your subject. Start to feel your heart opening, that expansion feeling in your chest. Very good. Allow that light, that energy to shine out from you. Good job. And now allow that light or energy to spread down to your toes, up to the top of your head, and out to your fingertips. So you're now full of that light, that energy, that love. Good job. And now allow that light or energy to fill each of the 50 trillion cells that make up your body. Love each cell just for existing. Very, very good. And now allow that light, that energy to fill the little you, yourself as a child, any age, with that same light, that energy. Loving that little you exactly as they are, no matter what. And now allowing that light or energy to overflow from that little you and fill your whole childhood, loving everything, everyone, every event, every experience, every circumstance, shining that light into any darkness, loving it all no matter what. Very, very good. And now allow that light, that energy to fill everyone who's on the call today. All those who are on camera, all those who are off camera. Love each one just for existing. And open your heart to allow the love, the light, the energy from everyone else to fill you, loving you exactly as you are, no matter what. Very good. You can open your eyes if you have them closed. And let's check in with each person to find out how you're all doing. And so first up, it's Tina. Yay! It's lovely to see you back, Tina. How are you
Hello.
today?
I'm doing okay. Just okay.
All right. So
Nothing
what would it
changed.
take?
Nothing happened.
Nothing changed, nothing happened. Very good. All right. I know that feeling well from my own experience, from my own past. So let's have a look. What is it that you were expecting to happen or change that didn't? So in other words, how do you know that nothing has changed and nothing's happened?
Because my life is the same like was before, and I put so much work to it, and nothing happened.
Okay, good. And what are you expecting to have happened? What are you going, well, this didn't happen. So what is it? What is that?
I don't know exactly, but better life, money, relationship, just general. Something changed, and it's nothing.
Okay. So what have you done to make it change that hasn't resulted in change?
What I have done.
Yeah. What action have you taken that
I
hasn't resulted?
change, I don't know how many memories, all my past, my parents. I don't know, whatever Steve told me, teach me, you teach me,
That's
and I
good.
practice every day, and
Very good.
nothing. And I drink happy coffee, and I drink zest and tea and Zontags and everything and nothing.
Okay.
Nothing.
So that's good. Well done, you. Well done for doing all of that. Now, what I want to know as well is what physical action, what physical action have you taken in order to get the results you want? So, for example, I'll tell you an example from mine. I felt that nothing had changed. I was doing all the changes in me. This is before changing childhood memories and everything. This was other stuff that I tried. So I changed all of that, and I was working really hard. So I would start a new business, or I would reach out to people, or I would take the action that people say you should take in order to improve your finances. I was taking that action and nothing was happening. It was things that worked for other people, it wouldn't work for me. So that's what and then like with the weight, I was, eating healthily. I was going to the gym. I was drinking lots of water. I was getting plenty of sleep, those kind of things. And the weight wasn't shifting. So that's what I mean. So in addition to doing all those changes, which is great, it's good that you've done that, because that's very important, because otherwise, like me, the action wouldn't result in anything either. But you do still need to, of course, take physical action. So here's what I mean. You learn to drive, which is, learning to control your emotional state, your chemical state. That's learning to drive. So now I know how to drive. I need to make sure that the GPS coordinates are set to the destination I want to be in. So that's the childhood memory. So I change my childhood like you've done, change all those GPS coordinates. Now, I still need to get into the car and start driving, right? Following those GPS coordinates. Because if I just sit at home waiting for something to happen, it doesn't matter if the GPS coordinates are set to the right destination and I know how to drive.
So what do you mean by start to drive? What is that?
You know how to drive. You know the superpower. You know how to change your chemical state. So that's great. Now, let's take one thing at a time. So relationship, yeah? You want a relationship? What kind of relationship what would be what's your ideal relationship? So what qualities are important to you?
A relationship with men. I would like to meet somebody like the one I want.
Great. And so you have a clear idea of what you want in that person?
Exactly. I know what I want.
Good job. Now I'm going to ask you, what are you doing for that, so in order to get that kind of person? So are you thinking about how lovely it will be as if you're already in that relationship? So this is like a checklist.
I did this before. Then I read all your Superpower book, and there was the other advice. So I did whatever was saying there. I sent the love to all my point, what I want in the relationship. That's it. What else I can do? I don't know.
Okay. So now, where is this? Do you go out? Do you go to things where you meet other people?
I go to work and I go home. Work and home.
All right. So here's something I can tell you for sure. This man is not going to manifest in your home suddenly out of the blue. He's not going to beam in. Okay.
But that's my life. That's my life. What I can do.
Yeah, this is what you can do. What do you do when you get home from work?
I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I shower. I eat, and I sleep. Sometimes even sitting, I'm sleeping.
Okay. So when you get home, what time do you get home?
8:30, 9 o'clock. Depends.
Until 9 o'clock at night?
At night, yeah.
Okay. What time do you start work?
Now I will be 12 o'clock. I will start. So 12 until 8.
Until 8. Very good. Mm-hmm. Okay. What do you do in the mornings?
I wake up, I drink my coffee, I meditate, I do Superpower, all that stuff. Then I start to prepare myself to work. I go to work.
Okay. So that's a long time to be doing all of that. So you have no spare time at all to do anything else? You don't watch TV or spend some time online?
I go on the computer after I check all the messages, Facebook, I read something, and it's the time I have to prepare myself.
That's perfect. Now, let's look at Facebook. What kind of groups do you belong to on Facebook? Do you belong to any groups or
A lot of groups are 10, 11 groups, I think.
Good. And what kind of topics are those? What kind of groups? You don't have to name all of them, but just an idea.
All the one, the tapping, the from Oklahoma group, from your group, many groups from you, and I don't know.
So now I want to ask you, do you belong to any tennis groups? Anything to do with tennis?
No, because I have no time for this. I told you.
Now, remember what I said before. This is so important. Thank you so much for this, Tina, because this is so powerful for everyone else as well. And I know how easy it is to forget these things because the brain is blocking them out because it doesn't fit in with the old program. So remember that you don't need to have the time or the money or the way to do it. All you need to do is connect your brain. So I'm going to give you all a little update on what I've been doing that will help as well. So I am not an organized person. I desperately have always wanted to be an organized person. I love neatness. I love cleanness. I love organized. But my brain has just not been wired that way. I don't know how. So things become a mess and I don't know how to organize them. And I don't know how they got like that in the first place. And this was an issue I had in school. So I desperately wanted to do homework and have neat books. And I'd always start out the year like that. And then I don't know how it happened, but it just happened. And then I would become overwhelmed because I wouldn't know how to sort it out. Now, here's what I decided just last week. I can't even remember when it was. Yeah, last week sometime. I came up with the idea, and thank you, Tina, because it was answering one of your questions. When I said to you, watch videos of tennis, even if you can't do anything about it because your brain will start creating the networks, that's what I started doing. Not about tennis, but organized. So I went onto YouTube and there are all these channels of people who do know how to do it, who have hacks and how to clean quickly and how to get into, how to organize your routine, how to organize your cupboard, all of that. I mean, there's a wealth of stuff on there. And I started watching these without any intention. This is very important. Without any intention of doing it. I just watched. So wait, let me finish because this is very important. So I just watched with the intention of my brain forming the neural networks as I was watching. Because while you're watching something, your brain is already forming the neural networks for that thing, whether you do it or not. Then if you do go to do it later on, you've already got half the neural network set up, and then it's just adding to it. So you already have a lot of what you need that you didn't have before. So I did this. I watched the videos. I binge watched them. I loved them. And then I could not stop myself from putting it into action because it was exciting. So I got the things that they said you get, the baskets or whatever. But again, I left them set aside. I wasn't intending on doing it until I couldn't stop myself. That's the way to do it. So, and I can't tell you how excited I am about it all. It's wonderful. And I'm still in the process of it. So what I suggest, Tina, is that you put, and I know it's difficult because your conscious mind keeps interrupting and going, but I can't, but I don't have the money, but I don't have the time, but I can't get there, and it's an hour away and all that. Now that's where the allowing exercise comes in, because here's the choice you have. Either you do it anyway. So you say to your conscious mind, whatever, it's okay, I'm going to do this anyway. It's not going to do any harm. It's not going to kill me to watch some videos or join some groups, whether I can do it or not. Or you continue the way you are, and then you never get there, right? That's the only choice you've got. There's no magic. So nothing magical is going to happen without you taking action.
I can tell you something. I'm watching movies, but about relationship, about the nice romantic movies. Nothing happens. It doesn't have to be tennis. It's different stuff, but I do.
Okay, that's great. Well done for doing that to get into the feeling of it. But again, the person is not going to manifest in your house. They're not going to.
But I'm working. I see a lot of people outside. The way to work at work.
Okay, so what are you expecting to happen?
I don't know. Like I don't program, like I don't see myself going here and there and I meet my love of my life. No, it's just I'm doing stuff you teach me. I don't know, has to show
How,
up somehow.
good job. And you're not alone. This is really important stuff. Good job, you. So tell me how this person is going to come into your life.
But do I have to imagine that?
No, no, tell me what you think practically. How's this person going? Where you're going to meet him? How's he going to turn up?
I don't know, somewhere, somehow. I have no idea.
Give me an example. This is very important for your brain to start thinking this way, because here's the mode you're in right now is victim mode.
Sometimes I was thinking maybe somebody's gonna walk into the spa. Maybe sometimes I'm gonna meet somebody on the street, in the store, like people do.
Yeah, okay, good. How often do you go into the no, let me ask you this. How often do men walk into your spa?
Not many, but they are.
Okay, good. So that's a possibility.
Yeah.
Now, here's very important. If you put one fishing rod in a pond, you know, it's not, maybe not, you might wait a long time. It may definitely happen at some point, but it's going to take a while. The more rods you put in the pond, the quicker you're going to catch a fish, right? Okay. Now, if you're waiting, if you've limited the universe or God or whatever you believe in to one very tiny, because there's not many men, very tiny little thing for a passage to get a man through at some point, it's going to take longer. Of course it's going to take longer. So here's where you can use logic, right? So now hear me what I'm suggesting. You are already on Facebook. You're already taking some time to check in with groups and things. Join a group that is about a topic that you love, that you are passionate about, like tennis. You do not need to, you can't play tennis on your computer, right? That's presumably. So you don't have to be able to play tennis to join the group. Just join it because there are other people who love tennis. And engage with an open heart, with kindness, compassion, fun. Engage in that. So because you're going to attract the way what you're putting out, we know that. So keep your focus. And watch, instead of, for the moment, instead of watching videos on romantic movie, instead of watching romantic movies, that's fine. But since you have such a little bit of time, you don't have a lot of time, spare time, watch tennis videos, because I know you love tennis and you're passionate about tennis. Go onto YouTube and subscribe to a channel that's fun about tennis, funny things that happen, interesting tennis, whatever interests you about tennis. Subscribe to a couple of channels and spend all your spare time doing that instead.
Okay.
That and
it will be the last thing I will do. I'm not going to do anything anymore.
Yep. So, and also that attitude, and I understand it well, because as I say, I've been there. But and sometimes it's up and down, but it's very, very important to take full responsibility. Nobody else is going to do this for you. Only you can do it. And yes, it's hard. It can be hard. But if you were to get fit, you would have to go and do the exercises. And sometimes you wouldn't be able to do it. The weight is too heavy. I'm too tired. I don't have time. And that's all okay, as long as you understand that if I don't do it, I'm not going to get the results. So, and if I could do it for you, I so would, I promise. If I could magic and make it happen for you, I would do it like that. But I can't. Only you. I can share my knowledge. I can support you. I can encourage you. But you're the one who has to override that resistance and go, okay, I know that it's difficult. I know that I can't. And take some time out.
Do this for almost 4 years. I think is a lot of time.
You haven't done this for 4 years. You haven't done the Superpower for 4 years. You haven't changed childhood memories the way we do it for 4 years. You haven't done this.
Generally, I do a lot of stuff.
And let me share with you that it took me at least 10 years.
10 years.
10 years, I have, at least 10 years, I was in self-development, trying to change, trying to create, trying to improve my finances, doing everything.
This kind of, I do this over almost 25 years. I do this. I try to change my life. I go to different courses. I try this, I try that.
So what have you been doing for 4 years? What's been taking you 4 years?
No, from 4 years, I found Robert Jean Smith. I started to learn about mind and all that stuff.
Okay, so that's fine. And you're not where you were 4 years ago.
No, for sure.
Okay, so something's been happening. And here's the thing, you know, when you this is a great one. You know, when you pump water out one of those things, you may not have done it yourself, but you've seen it.
Yeah.
And it takes ages and pumping hard to try and get and once you get it going, and people are going, oh, well, there's no water, I'm not going to start, or tiny little trickle, there's no point. But if you stop, you have to start all over again. But if once you get that going, then it's easy, and you just have to, it's like...
I keep going, I didn't stop it, but it's just...
And so when you do physical exercise, you get sore muscles, you get injured, you get ill, you're tired. It's part of life. It's just life. And so what you do, take some time out. Go, right, I'm not doing anything today. I'm fed up. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to watch TV. I'm just going to play a game, whatever.
All this, yeah.
That's okay. That's okay. As long as you come back to it. As long as you don't buy into, this is what the difference is. It's buying into it. It's, this has gone wrong, or this isn't happening. I haven't met anyone yet. It doesn't work. I can't, my life's not changing. I'm not doing that. That's buying.
No, it's not like that. It's just generally, it's just nothing, because I see video, I see different people. They change one memory and her whole life change. Really? How?
Now, here's the thing. That's not true. They don't change.
Why they do this? And I had video last time I was watching his video. He changed one guy, one memory, and everything changed.
Have you followed up with that guy since? Have you asked him if everything's changed? Because
I don't know. I just watched video what was saying. So what he's lying. This is what I was thinking. Now people lie because how can change like that?
When there've been times in these sessions where people will look at you and go, her whole life has changed.
My life, no.
Yes, in video, in previous recordings, there have been times where it's looked like everything's changed.
Just the way I feel, but nothing.
Now, that guy, whatever changed for him, are you sure it was his entire life?
Not entire life, but
right.
I don't know what was. It was something like with water, like he couldn't put his head under the water. I don't know, something like this. Right. So he changed the memory and he just go to the water he was swimming. Right. I changed million memories and I still feel afraid of water, even I'm just thinking about it.
Listen to this. So you have changed how you feel. It's one thing. Being able to put his head underwater is one thing. I guarantee, I would bet money on the fact that there are other things in his life and he's saying the same thing. Nothing's changed. Because we don't appreciate what we have and what has changed. We're still busy looking at what hasn't changed. And that is like running around the block and going, okay, so I did some exercise, but I'm not fit yet. You have to continue doing it. Or it's like lifting some weights and going, but I can't lift the heavy weights yet. Well, no, but you're making progress. You're not still where you were. And I would recommend watching some earlier recordings of these and watching yourself and listening to yourself and then comparing, going, okay, so I may not have what I really want yet, but I'm not there. I'm not still there. That's really important. I've said this before. It's important to look back down the mountain because we're going, oh, I'm not at the top yet. Okay, but look down, then that saying I'm not at the top, that I haven't got anywhere. But when you look down, you've made some progress. And again, it's the beginning that takes the longest. Now, I don't have everything I want either. I don't have everything I want yet. but I appreciate so much what I do have. Now, let's go back a bit. 2016, I was certainly different. It was, you know, things were things were moving. I had made a difference. Didn't have all the money yet. I still had debt. I hadn't met Steve yet. I didn't have everything I wanted, but I did not buy into that. Sometimes I did. Sometimes I felt like, well, I'm going back to where I started and nothing's
You
happening.
see, this
Right.
is what's happened to me sometimes.
Of course. And that's human. That's a human thing. But here's what made the difference. I didn't allow myself to buy into it. So I felt that for a moment, and then I went, right, okay, so what can I do now to move forward? What can I do now to move forward? What am I missing? I've said that often to myself. Steve and I both.
I didn't give up. I just, I still doing the exercise. Tomorrow I'm going to the beach. I don't know.
Good. That's great.
I have vacation, so I have to do something. I have to use it.
Great. And that's good. But have the attitude of, isn't this wonderful? I have vacation. I can do this. I can join some tennis groups. I can watch Facebook groups. I can watch tennis videos. I can connect with other people who are interested in tennis or whatever.
Yes, I do this. I don't cry. It's just the moment,
So, but keep reminding yourself. Keep reminding yourself. I'm the only one who gets to choose whether to buy into it or not. And every moment, I get to choose where I'm looking, how I'm seeing it. Am I seeing it as a failure? Am I seeing it as an opportunity? Only I get to choose that. Steve and I, well, especially me because I'm handling them, we've had immense challenges with the rental properties in the UK at the moment. And I was triggered because I thought all the money that I built up to be an emergency fund for if anything goes wrong with these flats, it's all being used. We've spent over £20,000 just in the last few weeks just on fixing stuff that's gone wrong, one after the other. There's a new boiler, this leaking, this, that, and the other, £6,000. There was that. And I said to Steve, I'm feeling actually really triggered because I feel like I'm making the wrong decisions and I'm going to lose all the money. But I used what we teach. I went, okay, I'm not going to think about it right now. I'm going to do something that feels good. Then I did the allowing exercise. Okay, so it all goes wrong. So what? What next? What's the worst that can happen? I used what we teach. And eventually, I pulled myself back. But I didn't at any point go, well, nothing's happening. Because I'm not expecting something to happen without me doing it. Do you understand? And because where else is it going to happen from? It's not magic. So sometimes we're in a situation, nothing's changed, and I don't know what to do to change it. And that's okay, that's normal. So then put it aside, prefrontal cortex is offline, do whatever it takes to feel good, whatever that is, and then come back to it. Knowing that you'll come back to it. But don't buy into it. Don't believe the scary movie. It's just a movie. It's not real. Very convincing, but not real. Okay. So let's do this now. So can you feel that feeling of my life has not changed? Nothing's changed. Can you feel that now? Good. Very good, Tina. Okay. So I want you to notice where in your body you're feeling it. And everyone else can follow along with this.
Stomach area. Belly.
Good job, sweetheart. Very, very good. So now I want you to notice that feeling as a sensation and just allow it to be there. So whatever that feeling in your stomach, just allow it. Can you do that? And if not, that's okay.
Yeah, it's there.
Good. Good job. Very good. And so as you allow it to be there without judging it, without giving it any meaning, doesn't mean anything, it's just a sensation. Do this as well, and everybody else follow along if you want to. Put your hand on your leg, Tina, right now. Can you do that?
My hand where?
Your hand on your leg. Yeah, that's it. Put it on your leg.
Okay.
You got that? Okay. And now notice the feeling of your hand on your leg. Can you do that? Just notice how that feels, the sensation of your hand on your leg. You got that? Very, very good. Good job. Now I want you to focus on the feeling in your stomach in the same way, sensation. It's a physical sensation like your hand on your leg, and allow it to be there. Can you do that? It doesn't mean anything. It's just
I don't understand. I don't understand what I'm supposed to do.
So now the feeling in your stomach, have you still got it? That feeling of my life hasn't changed, nothing's changed.
It's kind of gone.
Okay, good. So that's the allowing exercise working. That's great. Very good.
What I did, because I didn't understand, it was like a little bit breaking.
Okay, so it's the allowing technique that we've introduced. So when you feel an emotion, it's always a physical sensation in your body. The emotion side of it is the conscious mind gives meaning to it. So let's say my heart rate starts to increase. My conscious mind goes, I'm frightened because of this, or I'm anxious because of that. And then that makes the feeling more. When I stop and I go, okay, this feeling in my heart, or my heart doing this, it's just a sensation with no meaning. I'm just going to focus on that sensation. As I do that, stress chemicals start to come down because I'm not giving it meaning and making that cycle faster and more. And then the feeling goes and you relax, and then you can choose your focus. So right now, you got that? Okay.
But what with the hand on the leg? What was it?
Oh, that's just to give a reference for it's a physical. It doesn't have to be on your leg. You can put your elbow on the table. You can, put your hands together like this. It's just to come up with, it's just to have a physical sensation to refer to, because this means nothing. The hand on the leg, it doesn't mean anything. It's just a physical sensation, right? I could do this. It's just a physical sensation, doesn't mean anything. But when we have emotions, we put meaning to it. So it's just a reference. It's just to say, okay, so like this is just a sensation, this emotion is just a sensation. Where am I feeling it in my body? And that's what brings that down. So now what I want you to do is I want you to think about nothing's changed in your life, and how does that feel now, or what thoughts come up? What happens inside you when you think nothing's changed?
It's a little bit lighter, that feeling is a little bit different.
Very good. Good job. And so that's just the beginning. And then now, how do you feel about joining some groups, connecting with some people, watching some tennis videos, that kind of thing?
I don't know. I like to go out more. That's why I'm going tomorrow, because I'm staying home too long. I don't want to watch any more video or computer.
Good.
I'm tired of it.
That's great. How do you feel about going out?
Oh, excited. I love it.
Fantastic. Do more of what you love. Do more
I
of
need
what.
car. You see, I don't have car because I will be every day going somewhere, every single day.
Okay, but there are lots of people, especially in Europe, oh no, you're in Canada, beg your pardon. But there are lots of people who don't have cars who still go out, right?
Yes, of course, but this is what I mean. I love cars.
So here's the thing. Instead of going, I don't have a car. If I had a car, I would do this and then the other. Get excited and go, you know what? When I get a car, this is what I'm going to do. And focus on what you're going to do rather than what you don't have.
Do that.
Okay. So then the fact that you don't have a car is not relevant right now.
No, it's not the problem. This is what I'm saying. I love to go out.
So
I
then,
like to be outside. When I stay home too long, it's too
then
much.
go out more. Only you can decide. Then go out more. When you get home, go for a walk. Or in the morning before you go to work, go for it. Whenever you have time, do something that you choose. You choose to do what you do. And I'm going to have to move on because I'm aware that we need to move on to the others. But hopefully that's helped. And also watch the recordings of the last few sessions of these because of the allowing technique, because we introduced that so that you can, so watch those and follow along with it. All right? And
okay, thank you very much.
And enjoy the beach. You're very
Thank
welcome.
you. I will. Thank you.
Good job. Lisa, hello. How are you today?
I'm very good, thank you. It's Tiara Tuesday, yay! Woo. Okay, so I did the allowing in front of the mirror. I thought that was really cool. So because you know, I noticed that every morning or whatever, when you step in front of a mirror, you kind of get judgy of yourself, like, oh, I look tired. Oh, my hair is like, you know what I mean. So I thought to do the allowing in front of the mirror, and it worked beautifully. It really did. So when I go in the mirror, I was like, oh, So it shifted beautifully. So I wanted to share that. Okay, so I'm going to read from your book. When your dominant state is unconditional love, you're channeling your superpower most of the time, and your body is receiving a constant flow of feel-good chemicals and hormones. And then feeling good also boosts the immune system, of course, and nothing feels better than unconditional love. Nothing feels better than having the power of energy that creates and transforms worlds coursing through you. Yay. I thought I'd read that. And that's all. I'm good.
Thank you very much. And I love that doing the allowing in front of the mirror. That's a fantastic idea. So thank you for sharing that, sweetie.
That was powerful, yeah.
All right, and Swasti. Hi, Swasti.
Hello. I just want to ask just a quick question because I know I'm running out of time. So with what you just said to Tina just now, so you said like join Facebook groups and YouTube videos and things. So I really want to be able to do well in the admission tests that I have to like retake. So I'm actually on a Facebook group because I bought this like ebook and they said you have to join it to like see what others are doing. So you say also like what are you going to do once this thing happens, like focus on that. So that doesn't quite click for me. I don't really get what I should be focusing on. So like focusing on what it feels like to get a good score.
Okay, so in Tina's case, it was specifically about the car, and it was just replacing that feeling of I don't have with what I'm going to do, or what I'm looking forward to. It's about looking forward to something as opposed to focusing on what I don't have. So with you, with the results, how will it feel once you've done it? Once you've got these fantastic results?
Yeah, a sense of accomplishment, achievement. Mm-hmm.
Great. And what will you say, or how will you celebrate?
I'll probably jump up and down.
Good. So in your mind, allow yourself to jump up and down in your mind whenever you think of it. That's a touchstone. So whenever you think of it throughout the day, just go, oh, it's like when something wonderful happens and you forget, and then you remember. And you're, oh yes, I've got that, or I've got that to look forward to, or we're going on holiday, or whatever it is. It's creating that for a future thing.
Mm-hmm.
Make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Good. And what I want to recommend as well, as far as the YouTube things go, is type into YouTube, do a search for, hacks for whatever the course is, or tips for studying, or tips for whatever it is you're looking for. Type that into YouTube. But here's the very important thing that I will say again, because this makes the difference, because we've all done that before.
Mm-hmm.
What makes this time different is that you're not doing it in order to take the action. You're doing it to create the neural networks first. So you're just going to watch those videos without needing to, you don't even need to take notes. I mean, you can take notes, but you don't have to. You're going to watch them purely not to retain the information. It's purely to start creating those neural networks. And this is something that people aren't generally aware of, because, people have said, but why do I have to learn, well, my son said, why do I have to learn algebra in school? And nobody ever uses it. And other people have said, I've never used algebra. Why did I have to learn algebra or history or whatever? I've never used it. Here's why. And I don't know if this is the intention of the educators, probably not, I don't know, but I'll tell you what actually is happening. Is by learning whatever topic it is, whatever subject it is, it's not about the information. It's about forming the neural networks that give you the ability to think that way.
Mm-hmm.
Algebra, geometry, whatever, history, everything you learn is a process. It's a what do you call it? A processing system.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about algebra, or you work out problems and that kind of thing, mathematic problems and that's a very different way of thinking to geometry or to English or to anything else, history. And so it's not, if you never remembered any of the information, that would be okay because you formed the processing thing. And it's not about using algebra in your life, it's about thinking in that way, making those relationships with data. So this is the same thing. You're going to watch these YouTube videos, and this goes for everybody, whatever subject you're interested in. Your brain is going to form, and so for Tina as well with the tennis, your brain is going to form new neural networks that process information in that way. And at some point, you're going to find yourself coming up with creative ideas, with opportunities, solutions, without even trying, because that system is already set up, and your brain's going to come up with it on its own.
Okay. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. I just want to quickly say that, so we're talking about changes and results and things. So like before, I couldn't like get my, how do you say, prefrontal cortex.
Yes.
So when I was used to do like the practice tests, everything would be a blur in my head, and I couldn't even read it properly because I was so stressed. But today I did the practice questions, and I felt like I am able to do that in the moment now. So I know that changes are happening, even though sometimes it's like, you can't see them, but it's really good.
Good job, Swasti. I'm so proud of you, sweetheart. Good job. Well done. Fantastic. And you'll find if you do this with the videos, it will continue. It will continue to move forward. And there was something else actually I want to say for Tina, while we've got you here. The other thing that you'll need to do is, in addition to everything else I've said, when you're feeling better, so not when you're feeling triggered, but when you're feeling good, check your childhood for references of, it happens for other people, it doesn't happen for me. Why do they get to do that and I don't? How come they had changed one memory and it works for them, but I've been working so hard and it hasn't? And of course it won't be about changing memories. And the reason I'm saying that is because that was my reference. Everything I did, other people, I would do exactly the same as someone else. They would get the results and I didn't. And what it was, my reference, one of my references for that was I had to work as a child. And I would be working right across the road from the beach was the place I was working. And this is Durban, so hot, tropical, beautiful weather. Across the road were my friends and other kids on the beach playing, building sandcastles, swimming in the sea, and I was in a hot uniform working all day. So that was my reference for, it works for them, it doesn't work for me. So that, to give you an example, and I've changed that, I've changed all of that. Of course, the whole place where I work doesn't exist anymore. And of course, I'm on the beach and all of that. So that's an example of what you're looking for. Change that, because the fact that something, and this is for anybody else who has that kind of experience in life or that kind of pattern, something that they have and I don't have it, that's not about now, that's about childhood. So change the childhood, and then you'll have a different experience now. And that's of course added to everything else, the other information I gave you. So hopefully that's helpful. All right, Swasti, anything else from you before I move forward? All right, good job, sweetheart. You're welcome. And Sadia, how fabulous to have you join us. How are you today?
Thank you. It's amazing to be here, actually. I've been watching like all the videos from YouTube and finally be in this place. Like, it's very amazing and crazy. I cannot feel it. So I'm very happy to be here. I actually have a question.
Yeah.
It's related to the superpower state and like sending love to an undesired, like say result. Maybe this question was asked before, so I don't know. I'm finding it challenging to send conditional love to a situation that I do not desire. For example, say that I really want something. I I really want something, and yeah, and I want it to happen, and I truly desire it, and like, you know, I visualize this and do all this kind of thing, and then there's that part of my mind that, you know, build the worst scenarios and this kind of thing. And I find it like very challenging to, okay, how can I send unconditional love to that, even if it does not happen, while I still want to happen is not giving power to what I don't want to happen in this kind of thing. So
Very good. Good job. All right. So first of all, okay, so I just want to, first of all, Chris, if you can hear me, just to let you know, you sent me a private message that I think you meant for Steve. So just to, if you want to copy and paste that and send it to Steve, just to let you know, you sent it to me by accident. Okay, so Sadia, great question. And it's really helpful for me to answer it again, because this is, you know, everybody has this challenge with sending unconditional love to something they don't want or are frightened of or are worried about and so on. So the first piece of it is to imagine, to remember to see the love, the unconditional love, as a power and a light. It's not love in an emotional sense. It is love, but it's not in an emotional sense. And the thing you don't want or that you're worried about is darkness. So when you send that unconditional love to it, you're not approving it. You're not saying it's okay. You're shining light into darkness, which transforms the darkness to light. So being frightened of something or having negative feelings about, I don't want that kind of thing, that's like adding darkness to the darkness. So you want to get into that state of unconditional love, and it's filling yourself with it first. So you can't send what you don't have. So you fill yourself, love yourself, you know, fill yourself, all your cells, and that. And the way to practice this, because it is a skill, because it's not as simple as, you know, shining light into darkness, because there's a lot of emotion there, of course. So the way to develop the skill is to do that exercise where you're filling your subject, the person, place, animal, or thing that you love. You're filling that with light first, light and energy, and you love that. You love all the things about it and that. And then you imagine that subject doesn't want to be with you, or they don't have the qualities that you love and appreciate about them, and you keep them filled with that light. And that's like training wheels on the bicycle. You practice that and practice it until you're able to effortlessly keep them filled with that light, that energy, no matter what. You can love them even if they never blah, 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 or even if they reject you or whatever. Once you're able, and it's a skill, the more you do it, the easier it gets. As you do that, once you're able to do that, then start practicing on easier targets. So inanimate objects, just to develop that skill again. Keep practicing, and then on perhaps a food you don't like, or a song you don't like, or something that irritates you just a little bit. So you're building that skill, and then start aiming at things that bother you a little bit more. So it's like weightlifting, where you start with the light weights, and then you add a little bit more weight, because to just love something you're worried about, especially if you don't want, especially if the stress chemicals are high, if the emotions are high, that's like trying to lift a heavy weight without building the muscles, right? It's not so easy. So that's one part of it. Now, the second part that can help you in the meantime, because that takes a little time, is, let me ask you to think about worst case scenario. What's the worst thing that can happen? And you can share it if you like, or you don't need to share it, which just let me know when you've got that, when you've recognized it, or when you've identified it.
yeah, because I have the worst case scenario all the time in my head. Yes.
Right. Okay, so I want you to notice what happens when you think of that worst case scenario, what the feelings are in your body. You got it?
Well, yeah, usually it's stress, it's guilt, it's like, yeah,
Good. Okay, so
lots
that's
of feeling that I want. Yeah.
all right. So put your hand on your leg right now, and I want you to focus on the feeling of your hand on your leg, that sensation, and let me know when you've got that, when you've identified it. Just the sensation of your hand on your leg. You got that?
Yes.
Good job, Sadia. Very good. And now I want you to focus on the physical sensations in your body of that stress. How does that stress feel in your body?
Heavy.
Heavy. Good job. So feel that heaviness and then allow that heaviness to just be there without any meaning. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a sensation, like your hand on your leg is a sensation. Can you do that?
Yes.
Good job. Very good. So as you allow that heaviness to just be there, what happens? Does it stay the same or does it change?
Well, I feel like, well, I just like, okay, I'm just allow it to be there. Like, I feel like a weight, like comes like I can put it.
That's it. Good.
Is I find it difficult to maintain. Like I've been trying the allowing technique. Okay, I allow it to be, but like it's like it lasts only 5 seconds or 10 seconds, and then after it comes back,
That's it. Yes, and that's normal. So now that that weight is gone, I want you to think about the worst case scenario again. And what will you do? Let's say the worst thing happens. What will you do then? And again, you need to tell me.
I have no answer for that. I don't know if that happens. I have no answer. But I feel like I would feel like I don't know. I don't know if I could bear the consequences of if it does not happen.
Okay, all right. Now let me ask you this: will you die? Is this something where the worst case scenario is that you die?
No.
Will you be in physical harm in any way if this happens?
No, more mental.
Mental?
Yeah.
So then here's the thing to bear in mind. So number one, feeling scared or worried about it, of course, is not going to help it. It's not going to change it. It's not going to make it any different. But the reason that's so strong is because that is our survival instinct, is to focus on the tiger. Don't take your eyes off the tiger because you'll die. So that's why it's so hard to take them off, to take your focus off it. But the truth is, unless you're in physical danger right now, there's no need for feeling. So the first thing to realize is that we don't need the fear. We don't need to focus on it. We don't need to worry about it. Then, of course, there's the case of how to do that. So, so the thing to remind yourself is that you're not in physical danger, and mental danger is about what's happening inside. That's chemical. That's nothing from the outside. And so there's worst case scenario, best case scenario, all the things in between. All of those things aren't inside your head. All that's inside your head are neurons connecting and chemicals. That's all. There's no pictures, there's no people, there's no sounds, there's no feelings. It's neurons connecting and chemicals. That's it. So that helps to put a little more perspective on it. And so, so the worst case scenario thing, I'm going to give you my example so that you can use it for yours. I, for example, had the first time, it was my sister actually that suggested this. I couldn't pay my rent again. And it was 500 and whatever pounds, and I didn't have it. And I couldn't see where it would come from. And I was in a state, because I was just terrified. And my sister said to me, so what's the worst that can happen? And I was like, oh, I couldn't even think about it. She said, no, what is the worst that can happen? Think about it. And I was like, well, I guess I'll be evicted. And she said, okay, and then what? And then I said, well, then I'll be on the street. I won't have anywhere to live. And she said, okay, and then what will you do? And I said, I don't know. I guess I'll have to find a way to start again. And she said, okay, and how will that be? So she took me right down to the very worst that can happen, that probably will never happen. But what's the worst that can happen? Make peace with that. So it was like, okay, so if that happens, then I won't have, this is not what I want, and I'm really scared, but I'm not going to die. I will sit on a bench somewhere and wait and think and meditate and perhaps reach out to someone for help and that kind of thing. It's not what I want, but I'm not going to die. And that's very important to separate those two, because we think if I don't get what I want, then the brain goes into survival mode, like we'll die, and that's how we start feeling. So then she said, so what's wrong with that? So what are you scared of now? And it boiled down to my biggest fear was having to phone the landlord and tell them that I didn't have the rent. And then she said, so what's going to happen then? What's the worst that can happen? Well, they'll be cross with me. And what's wrong with that? Well, I'll feel, bad at that. And what's wrong with that? And just keep asking yourself, and what's wrong with that? And what's the worst that can happen? And what will I do then? Because it takes the unknown out. We are most frightened of the unknown. Most of the time, we don't know what we're frightened of. We think we know. I'm scared of this, but it's not this. If you keep going down and drilling down, eventually you'll get to something that is the worst thing, and that is highly unlikely to ever happen. But you know what you'll do if that happens, and that brings the stress down. So we did all that, and then she said, so phone them and ask them so I ended up phoning them and asking them if I could have until saying, look, I'm really sorry, I just don't have it. I can pay it on Friday. And that gave me a little space. And then after I'd done that, the stress chemicals had come down enough for prefrontal cortex to come online, and I remembered someone owed me money. And I was able to chase that person, and the money came in, and I paid the landlord on the Wednesday instead of the Friday. So it's all, but I couldn't think of that while I was stressed. So it's all about what's the worst that can happen, facing it, and having a contingency plan. So it's not what I would like, but if the worst happens, this is my safety net. This is what I'm going to do. Does that help a little bit, Sadia?
Yeah, I think I need more practice, because the worst case scenario is still there, and like there's a part of me that say, okay, that happens, I'm just be able to bear the feeling to just it does not mean to die, but I feel like the resistance is still like whatever I would try, but probably I need to exercise this. But whatever I would try, okay, it's like you're not going to be able to face this. It's just like.
Okay. All right. So, and that's the, I know Swasti has had some stuff like that where worst case scenario, I get the bad results, can't go to medical school and all that. So I know we've worked through this with her. So you can watch some of those recordings as well to help follow along in case that helps. And yes, it is practice, and it is reminding yourself that being frightened of the worst case scenario does not make it go away. But being okay with it, being able to love it, being able to feel good no matter what, regardless of it, that can help, because then prefrontal cortex comes online. You'll come up with solutions and opportunities that you could not see from where you are. So, and I know this is what my sister had said to me before as well. If you make peace in whatever way you can, if you make peace with the worst case scenario, you will probably never need to go through it. You will probably never need to face it, to experience it. But if you're continuing to engage with it by being frightened of it, resisting it, fighting it, all of that, you're holding that in your experience. You want to let go, you want to go, if that happens, I will survive, and I will think of something else. I will come up with something else, whatever it is, right? And so, we all loss, for example, my brother dying, that's a massive thing, right? That's not something that you can't you know, that you can undo or anything like that. That is death. But worrying about it, feeling bad about it, focusing on the guilt or the you know, regrets or the wishing and the anger and all of that was not going to stop him from dying. But what did happen, so the worst case scenario was he dies, right? But you add to that guilt and pain and sadness and missing and longing and regret and all of that, and that just makes the whole thing much worse. So overriding that and coming to the ability to focus only on the love and the appreciation. So every time my mind wandered to the bad stuff, I redirected it to the love. How much do I love my brother? What do I love about him? What are some of the amazing memories I have with him? What do I admire about him? What am I proud of him for? All of that just kept redirecting, bringing those stress chemicals down, producing feel-good chemicals, so that my brother still died, but I had that connection with him that I wouldn't have had while I was in the stress. So, you know, obviously I don't know what the worst case scenario is for you, but whatever it is, you know, hopefully this has helped to give some ideas of controlling you, controlling your chemical state. We can't control other people. We can't control circumstances and things that happen around us or to us, but we absolutely get to choose our own perspective where we're putting. And it's not easy. I know it's hard because we're going against that survival instinct, but that's what the conditioning is for. That's what the superpower conditioning is for. So the more you do it, the easier it will become. And of course, in addition to changing the references. So whatever this is that you're dealing with, notice how you know it's a problem. How do you know you're worried, or what's the worst thing that can happen? How does that feel? And where in your childhood did you feel the same feeling? And it may be a different result, a different topic, but it'll be that same feeling of whatever those emotions are. Change those, the opposite, positive, empowering. Come back and check it. Do I still feel the same about this worst case scenario or whatever I'm worried about? Keep doing that until you can look at the worst case scenario and go, it's not what I want, but if it happens, I've got a plan, or I know what I'll do, and I'm okay with it. Then you know you've released it, and then you'll probably never need to deal with it again. And the other thing, sorry, I know I'm rattling, but I want to get all in. The other thing that I know Lisa has reminded us of very often is that power phrase from my book, which is, now that I know that I love myself, and fill in you say, now that I know that I'm using the superpower, I cannot create anything bad. So no matter what it looks like, this worst case scenario, this thing you're worried about, it cannot turn, and no matter how convincing it is that it would be bad, you can't create anything bad. So it has to turn out to be either good or nothing to worry about. And you could put that on a little post-it to remind yourself, or on your phone or whatever, to keep reminding yourself it looks bad. It's like watching a scary movie. It's really realistic. It's really frightening. But I know it's just a movie.
Thank you so much. Yes. Now I'm going to have to practice, but I'm grateful to just know about this method and like to know that we can reframe that. And yeah, thank you.
You're very, very welcome, Sadia. And sorry, everyone, for the long, the long spiel, but I think it's so important for everybody. Okay, so that's everyone who's on camera. Steve, anything from the chat that I need to address? Or?
No specific questions. Lots of great comments. I think everybody's been reacting to that. I think we're good. And I know with the time, we probably want to go ahead and get started with targeting.
Very good. Thank you. All right, everyone. So take a deep breath and either close your eyes or leave them open, whichever you prefer. And go into your superpower state, however you normally do that. Good job. And feel your heart opening, your chest expanding, allowing that light, that energy to shine out from you. And now allowing that light or energy to spread down to your toes, up to the top of your head, and out to your fingertips. So you're now full of that light, that energy, that love. Very, very good. Now allow that light or energy to fill each of the 50 trillion cells that make up your body. Love each cell just for existing. Good job. And now allow that light, that energy to fill your subject. Love that subject, no matter what, just for existing. And then imagine your subject doesn't want to be with you, or rejects you in some way, or doesn't have the qualities that you love and appreciate, and keep them filled with that light, that energy anyway, no matter what. Very good. Let's go to Lisa. Fill Lisa with that light, that energy from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Lisa just for existing. Good job. And allow that light, that energy to overflow from Lisa and fill her aunt who had emergency heart surgery. So fill Lisa's aunt with that love, that light, that energy, exactly as she is, no matter what. Loving her just for existing, no matter what. Very good. And now allow that light, that energy to overflow from Lisa and fill everyone's financial situations and experiences, no matter what, loving it all exactly as it is. Loving everyone's financial experiences, shining that light into any darkness. Good job. And now to Tina. Fill Tina with that same light, that energy, from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Tina just for existing. Very good. Good job. And now to Swasti. Fill Swasti with that same light, that energy, from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Swasti just for existing. And allow that light, that energy to overflow from Swasti and fill her gap year and all the things she hopes to achieve, whether she achieves them or not. All possible results and scenarios, shine this light into any darkness, loving it all, whatever may happen. Loving it all anyway, loving Swasti anyway. Shining that light into any darkness. Very good. Good job. And now to Carrie. Fill Carrie with the same light, this energy, from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Carrie just for existing. Good job. And allow that light, that energy to overflow from Carrie and fill the forest fires in California that are making the air in Wyoming so smoky. Love the fires, love the smoke, love everything and everyone involved, no matter what. Shining that light into any darkness, loving it all exactly as it is and no matter what happens. Very, very good. Good job. And now to Sadia. Fill Sadia with that same light, that energy. From the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Sadia just for existing. Very good. Good job. And now allow that light, that energy to fill the future you, so yourself later today. Love that version of you no matter what happens, what you'll be experiencing. Love that version of you exactly as you are, whether you achieve what you want to achieve or not, shining that light into any darkness and loving it all, regardless of what happens. Feeling your power as you shine this light. Good job. And now pick a target, any target, either in your life or in the world, and fill that target with the same light, this energy, loving it exactly as it is, no matter what, and shining this light into any darkness. And surge. Very good, and surge again. Good job, very good. And now to everyone who's off camera and those watching the recording, fill each one with this light, this energy, this love, loving each one just for existing. Very, very good. All right, you can open your eyes. And any comments or questions before we go? And I see, was the live session of yesterday recorded? Yes, it was, and we made it into the introduction video. So if you go to the website where these recordings are, yesterday's Facebook Live recording, edited, is at the top, and it says introduction. So you can watch it there. If you'd like that. Okay, and anything else? Yes, thank you, Steve. I'll read that out because that's useful. Steve says, be aware of where you're placing your focus today and notice the world that you are creating. That is fantastic. So thank you, Steve. That's very important. So in every moment, ask yourself, what am I focusing on now? Where's my focus right now? Just keep bringing it back gently. Don't get upset with yourself. If you find yourself going down a rabbit hole, just go, it's okay. I'll come back when I'm ready. And you are the only one who gets to choose that. So the more you bring your focus inside to the driver rather than outside to the obstacles and the scenery and the storms and everything that's going on around you, just keep bringing yourself inside and do what you can to keep those stress chemicals down and be as kind and compassionate to yourself as you can. All right, so hopefully that was helpful, everyone. Love to see you all, and we will see you again, same time, same place tomorrow. Lots of love. Bye-bye now.